What's up, everyone? Shane Larson, the Game Time Guru. And I told y'all when I finished the book, I would leave a book review for you guys. And the book I'm talking about is Tyson Fury's Behind the Mask. See, Tyson Fury is a world champion heavyweight boxer coming up on his rematch with Deontay Wilder. It's going to be a massive fight. It's coming up really, really soon. Check that fight out. But I love Tyson Fury. I actually haven't been following him for his whole career. I actually only started following him a couple of years ago. See, I knew of him. I knew of his, when he fought Klitschko, I kind of heard about that story, but I wasn't really following him closely. And when he made his comeback, he shared his story about his battle with depression and anxiety and his attempted suicide and how he came back from that and made his return. And if you guys haven't seen Tyson Fury, I highly encourage you to go to like YouTube and check out his fight with Deontay Wilder in his last matchup with him after he had returned to the sport of boxing after dealing with a lot of depression, anxiety, and an attempted suicide. He got into drugs and alcohol and kind of let his life spiral out of control for a while, but he ended up eventually gaining control of his life, coming back, and the fight against Wilder was unreal. It was actually that fight that just like made me just truly fall in love with this guy as a fighter because I just loved his story. Unreal how he got up twice after being knocked down. Nobody does that against Wilder. Wilder's got one of the fiercest right hands in the game, and he knocked Fury down after Fury basically outboxed him for 10 out of 12 rounds. He knocked him down twice. Fury got up, and it just showed his grit and his determination. So I just loved his story. So glad I read his book. See, I don't read a lot of books, but when I do, if I get caught into a book and it's really intriguing, I'll finish it. I finished it in about a month. It took me about 5 weeks to finish it. You could probably read his book in less than 4 days if you just sat down and read the book. It is super good. And what I really appreciated about it is the fact that Tyson Fury goes into detail. See, we always hear, as someone like myself who has battled with depression and anxiety and has finally, sought professional help for that, which, I battled a long time in my life just kind of dealing with things the way I deal with them. And for some people that works. But in the last year, I finally got, professional help that I needed. And I feel like it was huge for me. It was a huge help for me. But what I do respect is how he went into detail because we see a lot of people going through stuff, and we hear like, oh, so and so battles with depression and anxiety, and oh, so and so tried to commit suicide, and we almost make light of the situation. I've been guilty of that myself growing up, even though I battled with certain things myself. I still kind of like made light of those situations. But Tyson Fury goes into detail, so you almost cannot make light of it. I love the fact that he goes into detail about his whole upbringing and his battle with weight problems and his battle after he beat Klitschko and everyone thought he was like he should be happy. He's got a lot of money. He's a champion boxer. He's well known. But he talks about the battles with drugs and alcohol and all of that kind of stuff and the impact that it had on his family. But he goes into detail. And what I truly respect the fact that he went into detail because it helps us see things from a different perspective because you can see how dark his life truly was at that point, but you never would have known. And that kind of gives us all a different perspective. It was awesome for me to read that because it helps me understand that, hey, we've got to really treat other human beings with respect because no matter how successful one appears to be, no matter how happy one appears to be, whether they're an entertainer, if they're an athlete, whatever they all battle through some sort of issue. Everybody's got their demons that they struggle with. And for Tyson Fury, it was depression and anxiety. And then he turned to drugs and alcohol and almost ended his life. And he goes into detail about that attempted suicide. And it's really, really impactful, especially when you see what the impact it had on his wife and his family. But he's got such an inspirational story. And I'm grateful that he actually wrote about it. I mean, again, it's called Behind the Mask by Tyson Fury. Well worth the read. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. If you were to give it a rating system, man, I'd love to have Tyson one day on my show. I would, if that was like a possibility to ever have that happen, man, I'd love to have him on my show. What an amazing story. I can't wait for his rematch with Wilder, win or lose or draw for that matter. He's an inspiration. And the fact that he's back fighting, doing the sport that he loves and making an impact in millions of people's lives is hugely inspirational and it's awesome to watch. So if you guys want an inspirational story, or if you know you yourself or you maybe somebody you know battles with depression, anxiety, has an issue with drugs or alcohol or any kind of substance abuse, I would highly encourage you to take a look at this book. Follow Tyson Fury's story. Even if you don't want to read the book, go YouTube his story. He did a lot of interviews during his comeback talking about, what he had to do. It wasn't just overnight that he came back. It was a long process. And that's why I love this book, because it kind of goes into detail about his career, the struggles, the ups and downs of his career, the politics of boxing, the mental weight that puts on an individual. And then he talks about coming back. And it wasn't like he just got right back into it and was happy. Like, he had to battle to get back. And so he did it, though. He did it. And he's here, and he's still got a story that he's telling, and I love it. Definitely worth the read. Glad I read it, and I hope one day, who knows, maybe Tyson Fury will join the Game Time Guru for an interview. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys read it, and we'll talk to you next time.